Hey, welcome back to Dining Around. Joel here on Talk 910 and iHeartRadio. I've been talking a little bit about an event that's on the way, and one of the issues is that it's an event that is a benefit for an important organization. The reality is we haven't talked much about that organization or what really is going to happen at the event, so I thought I'd have a couple of members of that organization and event in the studio with us to tell us a little bit about it. We're joined now by two individuals, Scott Bigelow, who is representing the Greta Foundation and the event on the way that is all about wine, and Meg Stiles, who is with the Greta Foundation as well. Meg, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Joel.
Thank you for being here. And Scott, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. Looking forward to it.
Now, Meg, tell us, let's start off with you, because it's my understanding that this foundation, the Greta Foundation, is named after your mother.
Yes, Dr. Margareta Stiles, but she went by Greta. Mm-hmm. And she was a beloved figure in nursing. First, she was in academia. Her last deanship was UCSF, the School of Nursing, and then she went on to be president of the American Nurses Association and then the International Council of Nurses, which is like the UN of nursing.
We don't always have nursing or healthcare on mind. I know right now with the Ebola outbreak and right now with all of the things that are going on around the world, healthcare professionals are so important, and nursing is such an important part of this. You mentioned the UN of nursing. Now, is this something that affects nations, other nations as well?
Yes, in most countries you have a National Nursing Association that advocates for its profession. And the ICN is, I believe now they have about 133 countries represented, and they're in Geneva. So they are very important. They do a great deal to further nursing within their countries. And
so with the Greta Foundation itself, how does that affect nursing around the world, or how is that involved? What's the connection there?
Well, it's really simple. You mentioned Ebola, and billions of dollars every year are put into global health initiatives such as HIV, TB, malaria, maternal and child health. And in our opinion, our view, there's one missing link in all that, and that is the most impacting health professional, and that's nurses. Mm-hmm. They provide over 85% of all patient care services around the world. And yet there is a crippling shortage where the need is the highest. And I can give you a lot of statistics, but probably one of the most important is in sub-Saharan Africa. They have 24% of the global disease burden, mm-hmm. but they have 3% of the healthcare workforce.
3%.
3%. Mm-hmm. So they've got the burden, and yet they don't have the resources. Mm-hmm. So again, all this money putting into antiretroviral treatments and everything like that, but without the hands on the ground mm-hmm. to really administer and provide care and cure, these, in our opinion, the ability to progress in these initiatives is severely compromised until we get nurses on the ground.
And it's not simply having a nurse show up in a place or a group of individuals. Certainly there is a connection to the culture itself. You want to make sure that those individuals who are working in that environment have a cultural connection so that they can work intimately with the members of the group who are affected by these diseases.
You're absolutely brilliant, spot on there.
That's very nice of you to say.
Well, actually, most people don't think of that. Basically, what we do and how we're addressing nursing shortages is by providing in-country nursing scholarships. Okay. So that addresses those cultural dynamics. We choose people who are often impoverished. They're AIDS orphans. Sometimes they are conflict survivors, and but they're persons, women primarily, but we have men too. Who are committed to a career of care and cure, of being nurses. So essentially, they study in country, and one, it's cost effective. Mm-hmm. Two, as you had referred to, they are learning health dynamics that are relevant in their country.
Right.
And importantly, they're less inclined to migrate. We need them to stay where they're desperately needed.
That's a very good point. And even within nursing within North America, there is a migration that goes on. I know that there are lots of healthcare workers here in the United States that are from Canada, that are from other places in Asia as well. And whereas we need them here, you have to recognize that they are coming from someplace else as well. And those home countries, in the Western world, it is a bit of a different state, but in those home countries, they need nurses there as well.
Exactly. Some of them, like the Philippines, are exporters. I mean, it's a big part of their GDP. But then you have other countries, again, where the money is going to be here in the United States. So I'm going to tick off some people, they poach them. And they bring them here to address nursing needs here. Again, what we're trying to do is, again, by providing these scholarships, we choose people who, again, are very committed to their communities. They often go back to their communities where they grew up and provide care there. To break down the scholarship real fast, we provide tuition and room and board, shoes, uniforms, school books. We pay for exams. We provide medical insurance. Sometimes it's the first time that our scholars are able to get glasses and get some real medical care at the schools and the affiliate hospitals where they attend. But really importantly, too, we give each of them a living stipend, which is minor by our standards, maybe $25 a month, depending on the school. And
but when we look at those different areas of the world, that's something that doesn't translate as well in our own minds. I mean, we think about the amount of money that we might spend on a ticket to an important event that helps an important charity, the Greta Foundation, for example. That money goes very, very far in other nations. I was reading one of the posts about Sierra Leone, and the doctors making $850 a month. That would be, I mean, in our standards, or the nurses making $425 a month. In our money. It doesn't translate in the same way, and they're doing such important works in those countries. But beyond the places that are sort of shiny right now in our own news media, those places where there is an ongoing effort or communities need to continue with their ongoing support. I'm speaking with Meg Stiles. We're talking about the Greta Foundation. We also have Scott Bigelow here in studio with us as well. There's an event on the way. It's called All About Wine. It's happening Saturday, October the 18th. It is sponsored in part by Don Francisco, by Clover Stornetta. It'll be from 6 o'clock till 9 o'clock p.m. And there's going to be a whole host of wineries there as well. We'll come back in just a flash. We'll talk with Scott and Meg about the wineries and about that involvement. But the reality is, each buck you spend at an event like this goes someplace. And it's nice to know about where it goes. It's nice to know about how far your money goes, and also about those communities. I mean, let's face it. This is dining around. We often talk about, let's go off here to Paris and let's go off here to other parts of the world and how exciting. And that's an important part of our lives. Doing something that's fun, doing things that are exciting, or tasting different flavors from different parts of the world. But the reality is, we also want to make a nod to be conscious of parts of the world that might need a little bit of help along the way, and being able to help those people help themselves in such an important way. I'm Joel. This is Talk 910 and Dining Around. We'll come back in just a flash.